Hi, my name is Colleen Schmidt. I'm a professional astrologer. My website is divinationcounselingservice.org. It actually spells the way it sounds, so it's pretty easy. You can check out what I'm going to be going through with you today on this clip on that website. If you feel you have any other questions, you can also send me a comment if you have questions. You can send it through the website. Again, divinationcounselingservice.org. Today I'm going to talk about two things, but the first thing is the dial. And a dial is a tool used by professional astrologers because it eliminates your math. And it makes it really easy to focus in on what it is you're trying to look at or answer for the client. So it gives a really good, clean opportunity for getting right to the heart of the matter without spending a whole lot of time doing all those long math equations. So just to start with, just to explain a little bit about the dial itself. The dial itself was originated in Germany, probably at the turn of the 20th century, by the Witt, which was a part of the Hamburg School in Germany. We all today are still very much using what they did all those years ago, and it has really helped to evolve the science of astrology by helping us with the math. It's probably been just as instrumental to work with a dial for me as it has been to turn to the computer to do a lot of my work that I once did by hand. So just to look at what a dial is and how do you get a dial and how do you set one up and how do you read one, and actually it's very simple. First of all, dials they range in everything from 360 degrees all the way down to 15 degrees. They're all different kind of dials used for all different kinds of techniques and to answer all different kinds of varieties of questions. The one that I work with the most and the one that many astrologers work with is called the 90-degree dial. And what the 90-degree dial has done is taken that 360 wheel, folded it up, and then folded it again. So you're looking at quads. So 1/4 of that 360 circumference is 90 degrees. So in a 90-degree dial, how we set it up and come by and why it's so simple is that you can see my different colors, is that each 30 degrees represents a different set of signs, excuse me. So our first set of signs, okay, or our cardinal signs are in the red. So, as the astrology often starts with Aries as our first sign, it is cardinal. It starts from 0, it goes all the way then to that 30-degree mark, okay? And that would be all of the cardinal signs. So you could be 10 degrees of Cancer and 10 degrees of Capricorn and still be in the exact same spot on this dial, okay? With that said, all the fixed signs would then be at the very bottom of the chart, and then the coming up the hill, so to speak, on the right side would be your mutable signs, okay? And just to reiterate what that means is the mutable signs are the signs such as Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. Okay, so one of the other ways to do it, if you're really not sure what category a planet falls in, if you keep going around the wheel, it starts with Aries, okay? So it goes Aries and then it goes to Taurus and then it goes to Gemini. Well, even in that order, they're falling right where they're supposed to be. So if you weren't really sure if a planet was fixed, mutable, or cardinal, then you could always just lay them out by hand and it would still work out, okay? Great tool, wonderful tool. With this tool, however, we have a limitation on how large we can make our orb, okay? So, which also makes sense, because now if we can do a grouping that all fall in one place on here, say that you're a sun in Sagittarius. Let's say we're about 20 degrees up here, okay, of Sagittarius. But that sun is also in aspect with everything else that's around 20 degrees. And that means anything that would be opposite, conjunct, or square that point. So already we've eliminated a lot of that math. But what's really, really cool about the dial is, as you can tell, I'm using the Aries point, which is a great teaching tool because it's 0 degrees of any cardinal. With that 0 degrees of any cardinal, when you look at a dial, it goes straight down to 15 fixed. 15 fixed is part of the Aries point. Okay, so the Aries point, just to reiterate a little bit for somebody who might not be familiar with the Aries point is, the Aries point is actually the world at large. And the beauty is, even though we all have suns, they're in different places, but we all have the same space for the Aries point. The Aries point is always the same. How people who are involved in the world are involved with the world. They probably have Aries point strong in their natal chart, probably aspects or as a part of the conversation of some of their planets in their chart. But some of the other people are not as involved with the Aries point, but they still know what's going on. They still live in the same world. So we all are involved in the Aries point to some degree or another. And the Aries point makes a great example because we all have one. So I'm looking at an Aries point when I say that all Aries points, all 0 degrees will equal 15 degrees fixed. But you see there are two arms also crossing that paper, okay? And those are also very important because that cuts the 45 degree in half and creates the 2230 spot. Okay, so 2230 means that 22 degrees 30, so if you start at 0, 22 degrees 30 of cardinal is still in the Aries point. But with that said, on the other side, on the mutable side here, the stuff here in yellow, okay, the 730, which is 2230 away from that 90 point, which is that 0, backwards is 7 degrees 30 minutes. And that too becomes part of the Aries point. So now I'm not just looking at 0 degree, 29, say to 1 of cardinal, because we don't, again, want that wide of an orb. The widest an orb gets used on a dial is 2 degrees, 30 minutes. Oftentimes, depending on what the astrologer is working on, they might keep it smaller. So let's just say that I would go between 29 and 1 degree, roughly, would also come down and equate to between 14 and 16 degrees of fixed, you see, also part of the Aries point. But then that same could be said over here, taking it from, say, 6.5 to, 8.5 mutable, and 2130 to maybe 2330 on the cardinal side. So in other words, we really narrow down that point, the space that you can use. But in doing that, we're also creating a bigger conversation because we're adding in 3 other points besides the 1 point that everyone would look at normally. So I hope that helped. I hope that that was a good explanation of what the dial is. Like I said, if you have any further questions about the dial and how it gets used, please check divinationcounselingservice.org. And I hope to see you all again. Good luck in your astrology studies. Have fun, most important.